This story happened several years ago. In one family, the husband loved his wife blindly. Even after 10 years together, his feelings had not faded. He always greeted her from work with a set table. He cooked wonderfully, helped her with household chores, and never denied her anything. He had loved her since she was young. She was his first love. He did not even cross her when she refused to have children, arguing that she wanted to live for herself. And he loved children very much. He pampered all his nephews with good presents. And then, 10 years later, his wife had a lover on the side. They met at work. At first sight between them ran a spark. They had a very passionate relationship. The lover was very jealous of her husband. He demanded that she leave her husband. The woman decided to leave her husband for him. Her husband let her go without complaint. He left her everything, left the house with only one suitcase. With her second husband, she began a very different family life. Her second husband began to drink and soon lost his job. She didn't get any help from him at home, but she heard a lot of complaints. He ended up beating her for every little thing. She washed the dishes the wrong way or in the wrong place. She said that the 2 years with her second husband lasted for her slower than 10 years with her first. The second divorce was hard for her. The man stalked her for a long time and harassed her with threats and insults. He didn't work. He didn't have his own place. He wanted to get back into their relationship and live at her expense, venting his anger on her for his dissatisfaction in life. Her first husband died under unfortunate circumstances. He was driving the 2 girls out of town. He lost control on a curve and the car went into a ditch. He was completely sober, but it was raining and the road was slippery. When he regained consciousness, the first thing he did was try to help the girls. He thought they were dead. Out of grief, he hanged himself. As it turned out later, the girls were alive. They were just unconscious at the time. They got away with only a few fractures and bruises. All of their vital organs remained intact. By now, they have made a full recovery. His ex-wife is very sorry about what happened. She thinks she ruined his life and hers. If it hadn't been for her, he might still be alive. She would never have been able to find a husband like him. His blind love had spoiled her. She thought she was building her happiness while she was ruining it. Now it seems to her that for real, she only loved and was loved in her first marriage. She's not even a sorora yet. She's not an old woman, and she could have arranged her personal life. But she doesn't want to. She no longer trusts men, and she really regrets not having a child with her first husband. She wants to take a boy from an orphanage and name him after her husband. In this way, she wants to create a family for herself and honor her husband's memory. The next story you will hear will be about a wife trying to remain faithful to her husband, suspects that he may be cheating on her with her neighbors. She then begins to test her suspicions, discovering disturbing evidence and raising the issue of fidelity. My husband and I have been married for 5 years, and after we got married, we moved to a new apartment, where we got new neighbors and became friends with them. But somehow it turned out that among all the neighbors in the stairwell, there was only one couple of young people. We, so to speak, were family friends. Together we went to the movies, on weekends men in the bathhouse, and we girls liked to go to the cottage, and when the weather was bad we went to our house, ordered pizza, and watched a movie. So we became friends with each other that we were like one big family, lived only separately. And then a neighbor, a grandmother who lives closer to the apartment, Lyuba and Volodya, the name of our friends next door, stopped me and said, "Why is your husband dropped by Lyubka so often when you're not home? And my husband works 2 shifts, 2 and 2, while I have 5 days and 2 days off." I say without thinking, maybe I ran out of sugar or something, so I went to see her. I thanked my watchful granny and ran off to work. In the evening, I told my husband. He laughed at me. They say Grandma watched soap operas. He said that he was faithful to me and loved only me, and went to Luba, as I thought, for sugar. A few days later, I was running to work again. This same granny stopped me and said that she had seen my husband come to Lyubka again, and then came such groans and noises that could be heard in her apartment. I was already worried. I think it can't be that my grandmother was just making all that up. But I honestly thought that to my friend, if a lover comes, it's clearly not my husband. I decided to follow up, asked for a couple of days off from work, but my husband did not say anything. Under the guise of going to work, went to the floor above, made myself comfortable, stood where you can see the door to the apartment Luba, while I do not see anyone, and began to wait. I stood for 2 hours and was about to go to my husband to confess his distrust, when I heard our door open and then locked by my husband. Then he went into the neighbor's apartment as if to his own home. I waited for some 15 minutes and then I went into our apartment. I called my husband on his cell phone to see how he was doing. He did not pick up the phone for a long time, and then he said that he was driving to work in the car and did not hear that I called. When I asked why he was going to work if he had a day off today, he answered sharply that they could not work without him, said that he loved me, and hung up. I could not stand it and cried. At that moment, I did not know what to do, to go into the neighbors' apartments and expose lovers, or set up my husband and call Volodya. My thoughts were confused, a lump stood in my throat, and my tears were flowing. Gathering the will in the fist, I rang the neighbor's doorbell. No one answered for a long time, and then the neighbor opened the door, said she was asleep, and did not hear the doorbell. I shoved her away and entered the apartment. I went straight to the back bedroom where I saw my husband. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video if you like it. Also put a bell so you don't miss new videos. See you soon.